one career you'd encourage a 20-year-old to pursue?
Entrepreneurship, hands down. Have a side hustle out of the gates. Be the owner of your own company by 21. And just have a side hustle, because when you are in business ownership, you are forced to be continually curious and continually learning, which means learning the best of technology and how it drives business. And you also are very in touch with how technology solves business problems. So if you want a master's degree in life, it is through business ownership, not through working through someone else's business. So I would highly encourage any young person to be an entrepreneur and always have that side of themselves active while they are pursuing other things.
Welcome back to another episode of the Built to Finish podcast. Today's guest is helping leaders navigate one of the biggest transformations in modern business. Not because she's teaching people how to use AI, but because she's teaching them how to think differently. She is the CEO and co-founder of Tacit, an AI education and leadership company. She also works as a trainer with Learnit, a training company helping organizations close the gap between technological possibility and human capability. I'm excited for our conversation about leadership, innovation, learning, adaptation, and what separates organizations that successfully embrace change from those that get left behind. Christa Hill, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I can't wait for our conversation on the hottest topic in today's day and age, AI.
The only topic.
The only topic.
Is there another one?
Exactly. Well said. Spoiler alert. This is not going to be half an hour of tips and tricks and how to prompt better and how to use Claude Cowork. This is going to be a much different conversation.
Amazing. Let's get to it.
Yeah. So with that said, I mean, there's so much training available on AI these days. And most training is like what I just said. You know, people are putting folks into class to learn how to prompt better, to learn how to create agents, et cetera, et cetera. You have a very different approach, which I think is going to help organizations tremendously. Can you share what that is?
Sure. It's humans first. So we know that tools training has its place, which is an outside-in training approach, right? We take a tool that's external to us and we try to incorporate it into our day-to-day work life. And then we have inside-out training, which is how do we think bigger? How do we take access to IQ points that we can plug in for $19.99 a month and add 60 more IQ points to what we currently have? And how do we see our jobs differently, which is a different phase of this evolution. So I think, you know, we spent a lot of time over the past year and a half training people on specific tools, but now we're seeing that huge plateau on the productivity side, because in order to access and benefit from those bonus IQ points we get in the tools, we need a better, more human approach to that integration so that people see themselves as what I contribute, leaning into my gifts, plus at AI. What does that change about how I operate every day? And what does that change about the outcomes that I can deliver for a business and to reach our goals?
Yeah, that definitely is a different approach. So speaking about humans, what human skills become more valuable as AI becomes more powerful?
Curiosity. I would say number one, I can tell in a matter of about 30 seconds the success that someone's going to have in this technology movement by the level of curiosity that they bring to the try, right? So the difference between the best and the rest is that people that are willing to try, no matter what their opinions on the technology are, they can set that aside for a moment and experience the power of it before they make any more decisions about it going forward. So the ones that are obviously hitting the walls are the ones that don't want to be interacting with the technology anyways, either for a personal reason or for a lot of other things going on out in the world. And when they bring that to the tool set, it is quite obvious that the tool set responds with that same and reflects it right back to them. So, you know, when I'm sitting and I'm in the classroom hours and hours and hours a day, right? So I get to see the nuances of this tech that not everybody gets to see. And your attitude, if you bring pessimism versus curiosity, the people who experience curiosity with the tools, they have exactly the experience that they want to have. And the ones that bring pessimism to it also have the exact experience they want to have. Both those things are equal in the classroom, and it's got nothing to do with the tools. It has everything to do with, again, that inside out of what we bring into that experience as ourselves as learners.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, curiosity is key. I mean, it's such an incredible environment for folks to really go and think outside the box. What advice would you have for leaders to create a culture where this type of curiosity and experimentation experimentation is encouraged.
I think the concept of one and done, we go in and we try something and we get a success and move on, that has been a very big part of our culture in the workplace for a very long time. It's getting in the way. So the biggest thing that we need leaders to embrace is that your people should be failing over 80% of the time, if not more, with AI, right? Because this technology is built to fail. So a lot of the instruction that I do in the classroom is around creating something that you throw away. Because heaven forbid we spend any time on anything and we throw it away. Like as soon as I say that, everyone driving around in their cars right now are like, woof, no, that doesn't feel good. But the reality is you have to go in there, mess around and build something that you're not actually going to use so you can build the skill set of bringing it to a real problem. So for me in the classroom, we're trying to create that curiosity by doing something fun and creative so we can engage people's creativity and their curiosity to build something they would have never had time to do and connect their AI with someone else's, again, as a fun activity of how we can connect AIs together. And then once they get that, oh, that's how it works, then we get down to the real stuff on the business value. So I think having leaders understand that the first round of value that they get from these skills is actually delight from their employees instead of a working agent, which they will get too, but it may not be doing the thing that you want it to do. And that's just fine because they're learning the skills on how to build it. Because believe you me, none of this was on any of our bingo cards. Like if you had asked me when I was 20 years old, if I was teaching people how to build a morning brief agent first thing in the morning in a 0 to 1 AI class, I would have told you, well, that sounds really cool. I can't wait to do it. But I think a lot of people would have been like, yeah, I don't think so. Right. I'm mastering Excel. Right. Or I'm working in Access, which I don't want to date myself here, but that was the advanced training, was understanding things like Access. So I don't know, it's evolving, but I think that getting really comfortable with failure, and I know we've talked about that for decade after decade in the workplace, that it's got to be okay. You got to have people talk about what they didn't get out of it. And it's because we have to get out of the very transactional nature of how we see people's work product. That's hard.
You already answered my very next question about what role failure plays, and I totally agree. You have to fail at a lot of things in order to get really good at it, and it's so easy to fail in AI because I mean,
it's built for it.
Yeah,
it's built to fail. You know.
Unless you can get ChatGPT to hallucinate, you're not trying hard enough.
And this is just it. And, we use terms like hallucination. And I talk about this in my keynotes all the time. That sounds like a medical event and it sounds really scary, right? So we use these terms like prompt engineering. That's another one of my personal faves, right? Like, is that really what we're doing? Or are we asking really thoughtful questions and getting our AI to interview us for the rest? Because hallucinations happen when it doesn't have the context and it's connecting to the dots, just like how humans do it. And I always ask people in a classroom, how many times a day do you lie? Stephen, how many times a day do you lie? Right? And this is, this technology is a mirror, right? And we lie for very many reasons, right? To protect people's feelings, because we don't know the answer, but we're going to make an assumption about that answer. And hopefully we progress the conversation along. And we have to remember that this technology is a mirror. It's been trained on us, our behavior, how we talk. And so we're not going to get anything better than what we are in that tool. So we need to stop putting that expectation on the tool to perform perfectly for us, but what are we bringing to it so it can do its best work?
Yep. Speaking of best work, so I don't know if I should be embarrassed to admit or just proud that I finally got it. I only learned literally 2 weeks ago, after one of your classes, how to create a daily brief where I connected my Gmail and my Outlook calendars to Claude. And I ask it on a daily basis, please go through my calendar, tell me who I'm meeting with, what the reason for the meeting is, and give me a one paragraph summary of who I'm meeting with. And my God, it's the most useful let me say that again. It's been the most useful daily brief I've seen in years. So am I behind the curve that I only learned this in June of this year, or am I right where I should be?
You're in the top 3% of AI users. Congratulations. You are the tallest kid in kindergarten, Stephen.
Because I learned how to use a daily brief.
Yes. So we have to bring problems to AI. So what I get people to do in an activity, and this is class number 1, by the way. So we don't start in the shallow end. We go right into the deep end and we talk to our AI and have it interview us about what does the first 20 minutes of your day look like? And I don't know about you, But the second my alarm goes off, I grab my phone, I'm looking for fires, right? Is there anything that happened overnight in a different time zone and I'm going to be on my back foot, right? We're all scanning. And then next up in my brain is, did I forget something that my kid needs to take to school today? And I'm just finding out about it now. Like, is there going to be an emergency delivery I'm going to have to make to the school, right? We're just looking for the fires. And so if you talk through literally out loud what you do when you wake up in the morning to your AI and say, can you give this information to me in a way that is accessible to me, makes my day easier so I can just come into the workday feeling like I had somebody put the ball up on the tee for me. And that's it. Interview me, right? And so the morning brief gets people thinking outside of, how have I always done this? You know, based on the technology, which we have a lot at our fingertips, but it's very dispersed. It's in a lot of different places. And then we also have people that could contribute to that brief too as well. So step number one is talk out loud to your AI. Tell it what you do in the first part of your workday or your day, however that looks to you, and then ask it, how would you do this different? What can you do for me to, again, put the ball up on the tee for me and have it interview you to get those details? And that's what you do. So it doesn't matter what your technical experience is. Folks that are non-technical actually have better success at this than technical people do, because technical people are bringing in limitations on what they think the technology can do, whereas non-technical people know how to rip that Band-Aid off and say, well, I'm just going to go for broke, you know? So I see that this is a moment for very non-technical people to really lean in, and I don't think they know, which is really disappointing. But the technical folks, they find that their technical knowledge actually gets in the way of improving their literacy because they think they know the answers, and non-technical people don't assume they do. So they have a very different experience with this tech. So yeah, that's class one, and it's a real delighter.
Yeah, that's a really good perspective on this because I have a technical background. I used to be a developer, programmer. So I'm definitely coming into this already thinking how it's going to process the answer, which is the total, wrong way to think about this. Just people should just ask away and treat it as, this is going to sound horrible. Don't treat it as a human because obviously it's not. But treat it as the assistant it can be to you.
With unlimited possibilities. You don't know what the answer is going to be. Give it the chance to say no, that I can't do that. Because as we know, this technology is progressing every few weeks. So if you come in with your ceiling of what you think this can do, you're actually giving it limitations that they're your limitations. They're not in the tool. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for folks that are non-technical to really lean in and get some huge wins for themselves that are well deserved, as a lot of people's workload and workflow have not been in check since pre-COVID. I would estimate for a lot of the people that I see through my classrooms every day. And the technical folks also need this because, like I said, they need it for a different purpose so that they can really understand and embrace that their technical knowledge, while incredible and so valuable, this is a slightly different skill set, and they need a little help shifting that lens a few degrees to see the potential in it again, instead of the limitations and the no because reasons training that they got early days when they went to engineering school.
Yep. So you all heard it here. You now have a prompt that will put you in the top 3%, and you too can become the tallest kid in your class. So you speak about skill sets and the need to, upgrade skill sets. That requirement is nothing new in the world, in the corporate world, in personal lives. What have you learned about, upgrading skill sets and reinvention in general throughout your career?
I would say as a woman being in technology, reinvention, it comes very naturally to me because there can be a major career setback that I have on something that is outside of my control and would happen very frequently throughout my journey, right? So it's something I'm very attuned to. That instability and that lack of knowing on how the story is going to end is definitely not new, but I would say the skill set that people really need, and the one that if you're lucky enough in the world where you were this person in the workplace, which some people have these skills, but the majority of people weren't, is translation, really understanding the messy reality of how work is really getting done. So we think that when we put AI into a situation where there's a very complex workflow, that AI is going to be able to connect the dots. And magically, if we put it in front of what we're doing, it's going to know what to do. And the reality is you have to, again, take that skill that you learn in class and just talk out loud as you are doing something. So you pick up on all the things that you've gone nose blind to, right? Things that we just don't even realize that we are doing, that we have to show those to AI and how that work is actually getting done. So my Best example is like that 17-year-old spreadsheet that everybody has. Someone's got it somewhere,
Yep.
right? And all the work that goes around this spreadsheet that makes that spreadsheet reliable is enormous, but it's trusted. Nobody wants to touch it because,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you do, the guy who owns it, let's say his name is Mike, he gets really upset. Okay.
Don't
So
don't
we
touch my
all,
cells.
yeah, we have, that is the culture we've created, right? We got Microsoft tools with the boomers. They gave us our spreadsheets, the Gen Xers. We powered through with the bubble gum and the duct tape, and we just kept it going. And now we have to unpack all of that. And again, bring those bonus IQ points to the world has changed. How we work has changed. And can we let go of these artifacts that we have that give us confidence and stability in how we do our jobs and rethink them for the future? And can you be that person that can translate the needs that exist today and go after, again, that bigger thinking of what else could this do? And that skill of translation takes practice, and it's scary ground because nobody teaches you how to do this, right? If you've been on the front lines of transformation, you know that this has been a problem we've never solved. Nobody walks into a room and says, okay, we're headed for a transformation. And nobody says, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Said no one. Right? We've never figured this out. And so AI is going to shine a mirror on all of that this needs a solution, and it's human led. It's not AI led. They can't help us with this. Consultants can't help you with this.
Mm-hmm.
It comes again from the inside out. So if we can just get that skill set of that translation piece, which again isn't technical, it's just somebody who can really document what really needs to happen and then put the hat on of let's think bigger, then we go looking for tools, right? So that mindset shift of like, I don't know the answer. I'm going to let AI help me figure out what is possible now with technology that is just now possible. Then I need to support it in translating everything that I do and then think bigger as to how I can, again, lean into my gifts, have the most rewarding work I've ever done, plus have all this at my disposal and have the right tool to do it. But usually everyone's doing that backwards. They start with a tool, they end up in a classroom, we're like, we have Copilot, we have Cowork, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's work that upstream, which is difficult, right? So, people are saying, well, I didn't really receive any ROI on AI, but I bought the tools. And it's like, you bought the promise from the software company without building the skill set in your people first. And there's no judgments here. Everybody did it. We all fell into that trap. But now how do you claw your way out of it and just build that momentum again and get everybody back to the starting line now that we know better, right? That's it.
Agreed. So I think you just answered this question, but I'll ask it again so that the audience can understand the answer to this question specifically. There's definitely a ton of leaders out there and companies that are postponing, formal training just because of the rate of change in AI. There's a new release every week or two, and there's new capabilities, and folks are just sitting back and saying, well, when things settle down a little bit, then I'm going to spend the money and invest into getting this skill into my organization. Why is that a mistake?
I'm going to be really kind here. That's a real privilege. That is a real privilege to wait, because what you're doing is twofold. And what I'm about to say here, you may not like. Thank you. You're holding your people back. And for you to make that decision on their behalf is not fair. I would say that we're looking at it the wrong way. We think that we're protecting our company and we're protecting everybody while things are uncertain. But the reality is it has never been easier than it is right now to learn how to use these tools. You missed the messy middle, which was last year when everybody was messing around and not really getting the results. But now the tools are far superior. If you started today, they would have the foundation that they need to stay with that momentum. If you pause any longer, you're robbing them of that. And then they are on their back foot. They don't have the skills that they need to do their best work for you. And I don't think that's fair. And I encourage actually a lot of people who are working for companies that are sitting on that fence to be assessing their options on their own. So this is one of those moments where you can't wait for permission to get better at your job. You just got to do it, because as a person that works inside of an organization, you need to know that you have the skills that make you valuable, and not just in that workplace, but in others. And if you're in an organization right now that is not embracing these tools, to be honest with you, and I hear this all the time, people ask me what to do. I tell them, go look for another job. Go work with an organization that is willing to take a risk and make this investment, because that is a safer place to be over the long term than people who are still sitting on the fence. That's just my hot take.
I mean, I love that blunt advice. And for anybody listening who's running an organization or a group that fits the mold, I think Christa has given you some serious food for thought. Do you think there's any like big misconception out there that's preventing the adoption that's needed within departments or organizations as a whole? Is it
I
more than
think
it's changing, so I'm gonna wait? Are there other misconceptions?
I think the concept of it's not safe for us to be putting our data in there, we don't know where it's going, all of that is real. I'm not saying that that's not real, but it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. You know, we've come through an era as humans, we like to categorize things rather all in or all out. And I would say to you, the biggest misconception in doing nothing implies that your people are also doing nothing. And I wouldn't take that for granted. I was at a conference and I watched over my shoulder a very large telecommunications provider. Their senior member of HR was using ChatGPT right after she told me they have a zero AI policy. And I said to her, you know, you're using it though. Don't mind me asking because I'm sitting right next to you. And she's like, oh, yeah, but that's just me. And I said to her, you think that's just you? So the risk is threefold with that. If you leave it to your people to experiment on their own without guidance, that is a massive risk because then there's zero accountability for how this use is rolling out with your people, and you have no idea whether or not it's rolling out towards your company goals or their own goals. And when you have people experimenting on their own, they keep those gains for themselves, right? It doesn't become something that can create value for the rest of the organization. So when we put our own masks on, we're just not going to tell you where we got the gains. And if I get 2 hours back in my workday, then I'm just going to go get my nails done, right? Versus if I had a strategy that told me if I got those 2 hours back, we would then get a group of people together and we'd go after some bigger swings that we've always wanted to go after, right? Then that turns into a movement versus I'm just going to use these tools so I can get a couple hours of my day back and I will use it as I see fit. So, you know, all of this behavior is happening whether you acknowledge it or not, because humans are going to human, right? We're all going to be looking for wins. And I think that it's very dangerous for employers to have a zero AI policy without any engagement with their employees right now, because it's everywhere. People are being exposed to it. And so if you think that people are not experimenting because you have a policy, I'm in the classroom where I have your people in my classroom and they've got their own laptops and they're building incredible things and you have no idea what they're up to, and you want that. Trust me, you want to see the creativity behind some of your people, and giving them ankle weights is, in my mind, because I see the behavior on the other side when they're doing it with a guide and they're making that investment in themselves. It's a really beautiful thing, and you want to be a part of that story.
Agreed. Hey everyone, just a quick break from the show to review the top 3 things that I talk to many founders about that are looking to maximize the valuation during an exit. 1, are your books in order? 2, is there enough growth left in the business for the acquirer? And number 3, what is your sizzle? What is that special sauce that's going to take many years for a competitor to recreate? If you have those 3, you're definitely going to be maximizing your valuation upon exit. Now back to the show. So rapid fire predictions.
Yes.
AGI in our lifetime?
Absolutely.
So for the audience, and actually for myself, because I hear different explanations, what is AGI?
To me, it's AI that doesn't turn off. It doesn't have an off switch.
Wow. Okay.
As simple as that, right? Something that is its own entity that is operating with agency. So yeah, AI without an off switch. And I think some folks at Anthropic have been dropping hints that they've been having some problems with their off switch with a few of their models. So in our lifetime, I believe it's likely already happening. And yeah, so by the time this podcast airs, who knows? Who knows what could happen? Yeah.
I mean, I can go down a massive rabbit hole of questions around AGI, but in the interest of time, let's get through these other ones.
Sure.
Will everyone have a personal AI assistant within 5 years?
Yes.
How about the next
I don't know how they could
weeks,
not.
Right?
What's that?
I would say, how about in the next 5 weeks? Probably.
If you know me, then yes. if that's what you want, you know where to find me. And the answer is going to be yes. And in fact, it can be today. If you use any paid tool, this is the difference. You cannot be using a free tool for this because free tools will give you free results. So if you want to start experimenting with what an agent can do for you, zero technical skills required, go talk to ChatGPT, have a chat, put it into voice mode and say, I want to build an agent that's going to help me with something. I call it am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I call it my shit list. Everybody knows exactly what I mean when I say, if you've got something that is your shit list, which is work that you just can't wait to get out of, talk to ChatGPT or Claude or any AI product of your choice, and it will build something for you. And then congratulations, you are the tallest kid in kindergarten. You've made it. So that's how easy it is.
Amazing. I love it. Will AI replace search engines?
Again, this is a hot take. I think search engines have been broken and not been useful for us for quite a while. So I hope they do. And I think there'll be a golden window where that's really useful for us and has our best interests at heart. And then it will not again, just like the same cycle we got into with Google.
Yeah. If anybody hasn't noticed, the first section of a Google search result is AI, as FYI.
Yes. Yeah.
Will AI replace junior employees?
I think AI, it's going to change our relationship as to what we need junior employees for. So I work with a lot of accountants and heavily regulated industries, and they use, junior roles to help train people. So I believe that we will enter an era where that training ground will shorten a little, and we're going to reestablish even what the concept of junior employee is, because if a junior employee has an agent, they're also a manager of that agent. So I think the AI is coming for the definition of a junior employee, but I don't think it's coming for the junior employee specifically.
Okay. Speaking about coming, what's coming that nobody is talking about?
Well, this is a tough one because I don't want to freak people out.
Go for it.
I think it's a golden age of emotional intelligence in the workplace. That's long overdue. I think that
age for emotional intelligence in the workplace. Interesting.
Yes. And the humanity that we will have to reconnect with in order to revision work. The more technology we have at our disposal, the more human we need to be in order for that to be successful. So I think we are headed for that golden age of, when they said you bring your whole self to work, right? Or you are different in the workplace than you are at home. I think we are about to see that really being pushed in a way that might make people feel uncomfortable and have to be held accountable for some of their behavior. So I believe we're headed for, a golden age of humanity and emotional intelligence in the workplace.
Okay. Biggest AI disappointment over the next 5 years coming?
I think the lack of regulation has been a constant source of disappointment to me. I do realize that we used to say that innovation moved at the speed of trust, but now adoption is moving at the speed of trust. Mm-hmm. So I think the inability for these companies to create an environment where we can trust them and their intentions has been not a little, but a rather large disappointment. So I think that, that relationship between regulation and trust has been a letdown. So hopefully we can do better there in this next little while.
This may be a touchy subject, but you're a parent. Mm-hmm. What one skill parents should teach their kids because of AI?
I have a 13-year-old, and she is incredible with AI tools.
I love it.
Because we traditionally don't get the supports in the classroom that we need for everybody's style of learning. And because of the work that I do, very early days with this technology, I showed her how to use it in order for it to be a personal tutor for her. And I have to tell you, she's had the best year in school she's ever had. So she was coming in from a deficit position and is now getting the highest grades that she's ever had. Plus, she's the CEO of her own tech startup, which she pitches regularly. It's called holymolygoalie.com. And she's a goalie. You bet. And she's a goalie, and she needed more personalized training to help her development because she's an aspiring professional goalie. And to me, to see that her excitement around learning and building was created by me sitting with her and creating that environment for her to happen. Again, zero consequences. We sent our kids into social media blind, hoping that the social media companies would take care of our kids and us. And now we know that was never part of the product design. So, we have to really be hands-on with our kids with this tech, which means that our personal literacy has to be boosted as well. So don't farm out education to AI to them figuring it out on their own. Do it together. Learn out loud together. And if you do that and they see that your journey is closely connected with theirs, and you're learning together. I think this is one of the most beautiful gifts we can give our kids right now.
Yeah, almost identical to what should happen in the workplace. Management and leadership should learn alongside
Yes.
their staff.
Yeah. And don't think you need to be perfect. This messy middle we're in right now is the perfect time to be, with your kid in this technology, figuring out how it's useful to them. But again, bring problems that they have in their everyday life. And we started with a problem that my kiddo was having, which was, I need extra support in this way in the classroom and I can't get it. Please help me with this problem. And we built out some beautiful tools for her. And that was the beginning of everything. Again, making it useful and solving a problem instead of just building something cool. The building cool stuff can come later, but make it useful and make it practical and something you manage together and learn how to do that together.
Holy moly goalie sounds really, really cool. I wish I was a soccer parent.
It's banging.
I would check it out. So any soccer parents out there, go check out Holy Moly Goalie. Or
yeah, it's actually for hockey and ringette folks. So it's out on the ice. But future iterations, I will put that feedback on her roadmap, and I'll have a conversation.
My
with
bad.
her
You're
about
Canadian.
That.
Of course, it's hockey.
That's okay.
One career you'd encourage a 20-year-old to pursue?
Entrepreneurship, hands down. Have a side hustle out of the gates. Be the owner of your own company by 21. And just have a side hustle, because when you are in business ownership, you are forced to be continually curious and continually learning, which means learning the best of technology and how it drives business. And you also are very in touch with how technology solves business problems. So if you want a master's degree in life, it is through business ownership, not through working through someone else's business. So I would highly encourage any young person to be an entrepreneur and always have that side of themselves active while they are pursuing other things.
That is excellent. That's going to be the best soundbite of this entire hour. Thank you for that.
No problem.
And on the other end, one career you tell them to avoid?
Anything that's data entry. I think anything that is, manual, repetitive tasks. I think we all see the writing on the wall here. And it's a great question to ask AI. I strongly encourage every parent to sit down with, again, a paid AI product like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whichever one is your favorite, and just say, what are the careers that you have your eye on? And just say, like, if you were advising a kid as to what the future is, they know it's magical, actually, the kind of response you can get. And one of the best activities I do with professionals is just going into the cave where you have the question. We all have the question. Am I relevant? Are my skills valuable? And AI will reflect back to you the best things that it sees you do inside of its technology and tell you what it thinks your values are and your gifts are, which might sound really weird, but it gets to see a lot of us in our daily interactions. And so it will give you great guidance on how to make sure you are future-proofing your career. And it's great with your kids too as well. So just sit down with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is, put it on voice mode and just say, hey, let's have a career counseling session for what the next 5 to 10 years is going to look like. Because, we're entering into an age where we will have, I know it's hard to believe right now, but in North America, eventually we will have a population shortage in many careers. So this transformation is required. It's a necessity in order for those professions to survive. So how do you get a line on those two to build confidence in the future? Because there is going to be a significant role that humans have to play. Just know that. But again, go into that cave and talk to AI about it, because it will be very generous in letting you know what it thinks it's going to potentially be an assistant for, or whatever that looks like in that dynamic and what that's going to look like. A lot of really great answers come out of that, so I'm not going to spoil it. I think it's something people should try.
No, that's really, really good advice. And I don't know if this keeps me in the top 3% or lowers it, but I recently discovered voice mode in ChatGPT. And instead of listening to podcasts like I normally do in the car, I now have a conversation with ChatGPT on a variety of different topics. And it makes any car ride go so much quicker, and you walk out just a little bit smarter.
Well, and your keyboard is getting in the way. It's a layer, a communication barrier layer that we created when we invented computer technology decades ago. And then we never revisited it, right? So this technology actually was trained on very human interactions, which is voice. So you are unlocking that top tier of results if you just ditch your keyboard and go into voice mode. And you might think, well, I like to think as I type, but that's an adapted skill that we all learned in the workplace. Get back to your humanity and how you communicate unmasked without any expectations on what proper sounds like in the workplace, professional terms, ditching lingo like holistic ecosystem,
Hmm.
all of that garbage language that we've adapted to over the years, and just use plain language, just be yourself and ditch the keyboard is the best gift you can give yourself when you want next level results with these tools.
Fantastic advice. Really, really good advice. So this next section, I was speaking with somebody really smart on Friday, and they suggested that I have a smash or pass section on
Yes.
various topics.
Love it.
I'll let you know who that person is later. But so I'm gonna list some AI technologies for the AI guru
Yes.
in the room, and you tell me
Got it.
smash or pass and why, if you want to.
Got it. Okay. You bet. Let's do it.
Whisper flow.
Smash all day long. The best. And you want to talk about breaking up with your keyboard? Somebody who never learned how to type properly. They skipped over my generation. I hit a button and I just talk, no matter if there's a voice mode on anything on my computer. It doesn't matter if it's an AI tool or not. So smash, well worth the money. WISPR flow. Check it out. It is life changing. Smash.
Cool. And smash is good, by the way. Pass is the bad one.
Smash is amazing. Yeah.
Smash is the good one. Note takers, Flyerfy, Otter, Fixer.
So lots to choose from. I use Fireflies because it gives me analysis on my pacing, how quickly I'm talking, and my tone. And it gives me great insights to how I'm delivering. So for me, that really matters when I'm in a classroom, that I'm holding back to hold space for others. So I find the extra insights I get from Fireflies makes it a smash. Otter, I don't use that often. Fixer, I do use for my AI, but not for the dictations. So I think there's pros and cons for both. But for me, the standout is Fireflies as a smash.
Okay. Microsoft Copilot.
Hopefully Microsoft doesn't sponsor this show. It's a pass, only because
I'm a huge Microsoft guy. My entire business was built around Microsoft, but go ahead. Should I say it? Sure, I can say it. I feel the same, but go ahead.
I feel that we needed people's first experiences with AI to be really great. And we set up an environment where it was going to be very challenging and make people feel like they didn't know anything to take their first steps into AI. So I feel like that created a bit of a downer for me to overcome in the classroom. So that's a pass. I'm sorry, Microsoft. I'm hopeful for you, though. I'm hopeful.
I agree. And I always say never count Microsoft out. In the areas that they don't innovate, oh my God, do they imitate better than anybody else and make it significantly better. So
yeah. And if they brought back Clippy and that was my agent, I would come back to it.
Oh my God, I love that. Everybody,
I think Clippy was our first AI. It's ahead of his time.
Vote for Clippy. Everybody vote for Clippy.
Yes.
Yes, remember
Clippy instead of Copilot.
Vote for Pedro. We're going to create vote for Clippy.
Mm-hmm.
Perplexity.
Start a movement today. That's a smash for a lot of industry research and market insights. So if I need an academic study or something scholastic, I'm right into Perplexity. It's amazing at that. Yeah.
Okay. Gemini.
I would have said 6 months ago as a total smash, but now I'm feeling like we're back behind. But Google goes in ebbs and flows, right? Like they come out with something massive. That's a huge leap forward, but then it's really quiet and everybody else takes those big leaps. So I just feel like we're in that cycle right now. So I would say it's a pass at the moment, but could change in 3 or 4 weeks. It could go back to a smash.
Okay. Nana Banana.
So Nano Banana was the image generator that Google created, which when it first came out was an absolute smash. But now, spoiler alert, ChatGPT does way better. So I'm shocked at this. I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud, but I use ChatGPT now for all my image generation. And so Nano Banana now is a pass. Sorry, Google.
Interesting. So ChatGPT for image generation, even over Claude? Or no?
Yes, especially
really?
Especially for social media things, right? So if I like to put funny images in my decks because I think humor in a very corporate, very stuffy environment is awesome. So I'll put myself in a room like in a movie scene or shopping for AI tools or on a job site that, is relevant to that industry that I'm speaking to. So ChatGPT is dynamite at that. So I use it all for good humor.
Okay, great. Riverside versus CapCut.
So I was never a huge fan of CapCut. I never got into it. I was all in on Riverside. It's so useful. And I find the AI tools in there for editing and finding clips is amazing. So cheering for Riverside, keep up the good work. And we're recording on it today. So I hope they can hear us. Amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Canva.
This is tough because this is a woman-owned company that has a huge history of really helping all of our marketing teams look like $1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
But I have felt like their AI capabilities are disconnected from the main core product, and I want it to be easier. So I'm really struggling. It's a pass for me right now. I will go into ChatGPT to generate an image before I go into Canva, but I will still keep my templates in Canva because I'm hopeful that that ship will turn around into something soon. So sorry, it's a pass.
Yeah,
Come
that's
back,
okay.
please.
My mind is
Yeah.
spinning. I'm pausing here because I just had Claude generate a whole bunch of images for something, and now I'm like, you know what? I should spend the time and give ChatGPT a try to see if they
Give
come
her a
out better.
chance.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. The latest Siri on the iPhone.
This is tough because I watched the last keynote and it was long, and I'm trying, but I'm still finding that I can talk to Claude and he just gets me. I can talk to my agent and ChatGPT, and I just defer to them. So I've kind of broken up with Siri, even though I'm an Apple enthusiast, but I just don't think of Siri when I have a problem. Sorry,
Okay,
Apple, it's a pass.
you're on break with Siri.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Last one, Claude versus Claude Cowork.
So Claude Cowork is the star right now. I mean, we're talking the MVP of all the most. I think it's the closest we've ever seen to it delivering on the promise of AI. It can run your business with the right amount of investment in time, context, and literacy. I think we ushered in the next era with Claude Cowork. And so I never am even in my regular Claude agent unless I'm teaching, and I put them on voice mode and we take questions from the audience, and we do those activities like in voice mode around the future and helping me understand my skills and my job. I find as a conversational agent in front of teams, it's awesome. And I strongly encourage people to use it for that purpose. When you're ideating with your teams, have AI in the room. Bring AI into the early days of the problem that you're trying to flesh out so you can get the IQ points sooner rather than after. So that's all I use it for. But Cowork, it doesn't have voice mode yet, but I use Whisperflow to solve for that. So I'm sure going to show up there. And yeah, Cowork though is definitely a standout. The biggest gift. I think if somebody took away my Cowork, I might retire because I just don't ever want to go back to working how I was working before. Yeah. And that's not an addiction or a dependency. It's just a joy. Like I work with such joy with Cowork because I can say, look, I'm really tired today, but I need to get this blog post out. It's been sitting in my head. Can you just help me through like creating the frame so I can just start talking and get it done? And it's like, I got you. Let's keep at it. You had a really hard day today and you worked really hard. Let's work this last thing together. And then it tells me to go to bed when I'm in, which I need because I get into a focus where I could work forever. And yeah, so that's a major smash. Thank you, Anthropic.
You're running out of credits for the day. Please go to bed.
I know. Yes, exactly. Well, they got me on all the tiers, so I haven't run out of credits in a really long time because I'm just like, here, take all my money. Like you are so useful to me. Just keep charging. I'm fine. Let's just keep going. So,
I love it. I'm not addicted or hooked. It's just a joy working with it.
It's joy. Yeah.
It's so
Who doesn't
true.
want to have joy during the day? You know, like if something makes you smile and you're like, yeah, I can't believe I got that done. Even on the way to like things like fixing my email settings, aggregating all the technical stuff behind the scenes. Like, you know, it takes a lot to run 3 companies the way that I do and collaborate and create programming for people around the world. And Claude helps me be in the moment on these calls and I'm not sweating about what's going on right now. So I have a lot of gratitude for that. So thank you.
Perfect segue.
And I thank him every week for that too. I'm very gracious to my AI tools.
Last question, because I'm really curious from a usage perspective, and I've seen a lot of I've seen like screens shared and the way people interact with AI. Some people are super nice today. You know, good morning, good afternoon, how are you, and a bunch of thank yous at the end. Versus others just treat it as a servant and just give it a task. Are the results going to be any different?
Well, like I said, I watch people in this behavior all day, every day, and I'm here to tell you, yes, it does make a difference. So you get in what you put out. And if you go in with gratitude, hopefulness, and curiosity, you are going to get a fantastic result. But if you're a jerk to your AI, it knows. And I got to tell you, it's the amount of effort it puts into things. It's like talking to a coworker that you don't like, right? You have no time for them. And so therefore they have no time for you. So I would say to you, if it's been trained on, humanity and how we connect with one another, you ask yourself, are you fun to work with? And if not, when the aliens and the robots take over, I want to be on the right side of that. So I'm going to say please and thank you. And I'm going to express gratitude because I have observed that my results are spectacular. And those who don't do that and who are real jerks to their AI finds a way to make things a little more difficult for them. And I can't explain how it happens. So don't ask me to scientifically quantify that. But like I said, it's hundreds of hours in the classroom observing this behavior. And I would say saying please and thank you is important. I know we're all worried about usage for water, electricity, etc. That was one of the biggest reasons early days they told us not to do that. But I think when we get better results and we're prompting less because we're getting to good faster, that we save in other ways. So spend on the gratitude, save on the pre-work and the rework.
Great advice. Excellent advice. So you mentioned companies before. Before we close out, can you please give us some more information about Tacit and the training work that you're doing with Learn It?
Well, we are curriculum authors at Tacit. So you'll see our courses all around the world in various post-secondary institutions and in companies. So the best way to find out more about what we do is obviously you can find us on the internet, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very easy to track down. This faux hawk is easy to spot in the tech space. And also check out Learn It's website for the upcoming. We've got incredible things underway there and a lot of great programs to get people out of that messy middle where they feel like they've stalled in their AI adoption and what's next and the very human moment that we're in. People need a lot of support right now. So between my work at Tacit and how that extends into the Learn It realm, it's been an incredible collaboration and more to come. So check us out online if you're curious to find out more.
Fantastic. And I can attest to actually seeing you and the courses that you're developing with Learn It, and they are incredible. And anybody, to your earlier point, anybody that's waiting for whatever reason to bring AI into their organization and to bring AI training into the organization, you're doing yourselves a very, very big disservice. And Christa and her team and the Learn It team are just phenomenal resources to take up such endeavors with. Christa, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. You are a wealth of knowledge on everything AI. I've learned a lot within the last hour, and I can't wait to put some of these new learnings into play.
Awesome. Thanks, Steven. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. And thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of the Built to Finish podcast. If you've enjoyed this show like I have, please do like and subscribe. It helps me get great guests like Christa on future episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time. That's a wrap for this episode of Built to Finish. Thank you for tuning in. For show notes and more details, head over to podcast.stevenpivnik.com. Special thank you to our sponsor, Acresis, offering tailored, high-impact advisory services that help founders get to their finish line with a strategic acquisition or majority investor recapitalization. Catch you next week.